Hello, my name's Bailey, and I'm 29 years old. Just a few short months ago, I gave birth to fraternal twins, the loves of my life, and I almost had one of them stolen by their own family members. Let me begin from the start. I met my husband Anthony at college. I think from the first time that we met, we kind of already knew that we were going to be with each other forever. We got along really well, and we had this deep understanding that we had no one else in our lives. So it comes as no surprise that immediately after we graduated, we got married. We then took time to focus on our careers so we could save up as much money as we could to start planning for children. It was around this same time that Anthony's sister Kayla got married to her longtime partner. The two of them began trying to have children immediately after they got married. Kayla had been very keen on having children of her own. She dreamed of being a mother, and after 6 months of trying with no results, she began to slowly get depressed. She would lean on me and her mother, Harriet, a lot. I had gone over to her multiple times to comfort her, as she cried over another negative pregnancy test. Finally, I told her to go to the doctor and get both herself and her husband checked up to see if either one of them was infertile or if there was some other issue that could be easily fixed. Kayla was terrified to go, but she did. After some rigorous testing on both of them, the results said that Kayla was infertile. She was devastated. I wound up staying with her for the next 2 weeks because she refused to even be in the presence of her husband. I felt terrible for her, and watching her wither away so slowly did make me feel bad for her. It did make me scared to try for a baby, because I did not want to end up in the same place Kayla was in. But anyway, Anthony and I started trying for a child afterwards. It had been about 3 years since we got married, and we were in a good place financially to start trying for a child. Thankfully, it didn't take long for us to get pregnant. Anthony was over the moon about the news. I was worried about how Kayla would react, but Anthony assured me that it wasn't something for me to consider so seriously. Anthony and I announced my pregnancy at a family dinner where we had invited everyone in our families. Everyone but Kayla was happy for us. Kayla made a big fuss and ended up leaving dinner. Anthony did not let me dwell on that too much. In our second trimester, during one of my regular checkups, Anthony and I found out that we were pregnant with twins. I cannot even begin to tell you the shock and then the joy that washed over me. I was scared about what giving birth to twins would be like, but I knew that everything would work out fine. Anthony and I decided to host a dinner party again and invited everyone but Kayla to announce the big news. Of course, when Harriet and Ray found out that Kayla wasn't invited, they made a big fuss. We tried to tell Kayla that the dinner was about my pregnancy, and we didn't want her to feel hurt in any way. But Kayla assured us that she would be fine. So, with a lot of hesitation, we invited her. After dinner, Anthony and I decided to make our announcement. So, we called you all here today to give you an important update on Bailey's pregnancy. Oh no, is the baby all right? Yes, of course. Everything's fine and the pregnancy is coming along fine. Yesterday, we went to the doctor for her usual checkups, and they found 2 heartbeats. Oh my gosh, does that mean are you having twins? Yes, we are. We don't know their sex yet, but we plan to wait until after the birth to find out. I'm so happy for you. Congrats to both of you. We have 2 grandbabies now. This is wonderful. Congratulations. Thank you so much. We cannot even begin to tell you how excited we were to share this with you guys. Oh yeah, I'm sure you were excited as hell, Kayla. What do you mean by that? No. I just think it's pretty selfish and ignorant of you to proudly proclaim that you're having twins when you know that I've been struggling to conceive even one child, Kayla. I mean this with all due respect, but you begged us to let you be present today. Yeah, because I thought this was going to be some bad news about your pregnancy. What? What are you even saying right now? I hoped that there was some complication so that maybe we'd both be in the same boat, Bailey. You have no idea what it's like to want a baby so bad. You asked for one and got two. Kayla, please calm down. No, they have some nerve showing off in front of me. I don't know what you expected by having me here. We tried to tell you to sit this out. You refused to listen. How is it our fault that you didn't hear what you wanted to hear? Also, I get that you're having a hard time, but to actively wish something bad on someone is really, really wrong. You have no right to tell me what's wrong. No right. Okay, I think we should leave. Come on, Kayla, let's go. To say I was beyond shocked would be an understatement. I had never intended to show off my pregnancy in front of Kayla, and it was not like I didn't know how fragile her ego was regarding it. I tried my best to shield her, but she refused to listen to me. To hear that she actively wished harm to my baby made my blood boil, but thankfully Anthony had my back and calmed me down. He told Kayla that her behavior and her actions were unacceptable. He asked her to leave and only contact us through call or text, because he didn't want Kayla stressing me out in any way. Kayla just huffed and laughed. She looked at me with so much hate in her eyes that I felt a shiver go down my spine. I felt really bad because I had thought that we had a closer relationship than this, but apparently my having my babies was going to jeopardize that. The next morning, Kayla called me to apologize. Hi, Bailey. Hello. Look, I wanted to apologize for what I did and said the other day. That is very out of line and uncalled for. Yeah, I guess that's okay. No, it's not okay. I've just been struggling. I'm aware of that. I guess I was way too jealous. I thought I sorted these feelings out, but it's hard. Wishing ill for my babies is not something that's okay, no matter what the reason is. Yes, I know. And I really am very, very sorry for saying that. I want you to know that I never once wished that for you. Somehow. I find that very hard to believe. Look, I know that I haven't been the best sport about it ever since you announced that you were pregnant. You have no idea how badly I wanted to have children. It physically hurts, Bailey. Right? And I can understand the pain. But if the roles were reversed, I would never have even thought the way that you did. I'm just in a really bad place right now, and things came out the wrong way. I would never have been able to live with myself if something actually did go wrong with your pregnancy. I really am sorry. Can we please put this behind us? It will take a little bit if I'm being completely honest. Anthony, and I don't think it's wise for you to be around us for a while. What? Why? I mean, you wished harm on me and our kids. What are the chances that one day when you're wallowing in your sadness, you decide to harm us? Why would I ever do that? I'm not a monster. I just had a moment of weakness yesterday. I understand that. But if you really want to make reparations, I think it'll be best for us to distance ourselves from you. Will I at least get to see the kids? We will think about it when they're born. Thanks for your apology. Goodbye. I was glad that Kayla found it in herself to apologize to me. At the same time, she had shown me how vicious she was, and I did not want that energy around me or my newborns. I got a lot of texts after that from her and from Anthony's parents, Harriet and Ree. All of them were reprimanding me for being so hard on Kayla when I knew what she was struggling with. They expected me to be very sympathetic towards her to the point where I just looked over all her weird and upsetting behavior. I was not about to do that. I simply told them that if they kept texting me about my decision, they were going to get blocked and they wouldn't be allowed to meet my children. They shut up pretty fast after that. The time came to give birth to my babies, and it was the most painful and scary experience for me. After I gave birth to my first child, I began to lose a lot of blood. I was slowly losing consciousness, but I managed to pull through and give birth to my second. I passed out immediately after, and I only came to the next day. My bleeding didn't stop until way later. The doctors told Anthony there was a chance that I would not make it, needless to say. The birth of our babies was a bit of a scare, and so for all of us to be healthy and alive was a big deal. We waited for about 6 months before allowing either Anthony or my parents to see the babies. We wanted some alone family time for a few months. When Anthony's parents came over, they looked overjoyed to see the babies. Oh, the babies are lovely. I know, right? Bailey really did so well. Pushing 2 babies out is really no joke, I bet. Where one door closes, another one opens. That's what I was thinking too. Wait, hold on. What are you guys talking about? Well, aren't you going to give one baby to Kayla? No, why would we? Why not? You know how heartbroken she is that she can't have a child. Well, yes, and we feel bad for her. But why in the world would we give up one of our children? You have 2. Surely you can't raise both. You told us yourselves that the twins were a surprise. Yes, and just because they were a surprise doesn't mean that we plan on giving one of them up. That's just crazy. Look, I don't care what you guys think, but you're giving Kayla one of the children. Think about how cute that will be as well. Of course, we will require you to keep your mouth shut about the true parentage of the child you'll be giving to Kayla. I'm not giving Kayla one of my children, that's final. You can't just deprive our daughter of the one thing she's wanted most in the world. You don't even know how heartbroken she was when she found out you were having twins. Don't you think it was fate that you had 2 babies, one for you and the other for her? I do sympathize with Kayla. I feel bad that she can't have kids. Clearly, you don't feel bad enough. If you did, you would not object to giving her one of your babies. Dad, Mom, I think that's enough. Would you have given up one of us if that meant making someone else happy? Absolutely. If my sister was struggling with fertility issues, I would have definitely done that for her. I'm happy that you can think that way, but I know just what I went through to deliver these 2, and there's no way in hell that I'll ever give them up. My God, I hope your selfishness doesn't rub off on these kids. That's it. I want the both of you out of our house. You have been disrespectful for long enough. We were just trying to do what was right. Out now. Anthony and I were genuinely appalled at the gall that both of them had to even just assume that we'd be willing to give up our child for Kayla. Aside from the fact that they were my kids, even if I did want to give one of them up, there was no way in hell or heaven that I was going to choose Kayla as a mother for them, because she has shown me time and time again how easily she breaks. Kids are a lot. They say and do a lot of hurtful things, and you need to have mettle to deal with them. Kayla did not have that, and I just knew that she would have made their lives miserable. I kept a tight watch on my kids after that. Neither Anthony nor I left them out of our sight at all. I don't know why, but I had this insane gut feeling that something bad was about to happen, and I couldn't shake it off, no matter how hard I tried. But that feeling came true, not for me. The day it happened was like any regular day. I had given the kids to Anthony to look after while I had the next few hours to myself. That day, I decided to go to the park, and while there, I happened to bump into my friend from the neighborhood New Moms group. We had bonded, especially since we both got pregnant with twins. She had brought her kids with her in her stroller, and I happened to be taking care of them for a few minutes while she spoke to some other friends that she also ran into at the park. She also introduced me to them, and I held one of her kids in my arms and turned my back on the stroller for a minute. Once I was done talking to all of them, I gave my friend her child and made my way back to my car. As soon as I got back home, I got a call from Harriet. Hello. Well, how are you doing? Good. How could you possibly be doing good right now, Harriet? If you're going to be cryptic right now, I don't have the energy for it. Ree and I have one of your babies. What? And we're giving the baby to Kayla. That can't be right. Oh, why can't it? You may have been raised by selfish parents, but my family is nothing like that. We love sharing everything we have, and if sharing means giving up one of our children so another can be happy, we'll do that. First of all, you're insane for thinking that. I'm being selfish for not giving up my baby. Secondly, you don't have my baby. Both of them are at home with me. Is that some prophetic tactic of yours to get your baby back, Harriet? Whose baby do you have? I can assure you, I have both of mine right here. I'm watching them right now. That's impossible. I followed you to the park, and when you weren't looking, I snatched one of the babies. How, Harriet? I didn't take our babies out to the park today. Nonsense. I saw you there. Well, yes, I was at the park for sure, but I happened to run into my friend who brought her babies with her to the park. But why were you carrying her child like you were its mother? I was carrying the baby like I normally would. What does that question even mean? Whose baby do I have? Ask your friend to come and get her baby back. Would you look at the alert that just got sent out on your phone? An Amber Alert? Hold on, this baby is the sheriff's baby. Oh yeah, my friend is the wife of the sheriff. Did I forget to mention that? You set me up. I know you did. You really did go to great lengths to avoid sharing with family. You shouldn't be stealing babies to begin with, regardless of whether they're family or not. Why would I ever be on board with you stealing anyone's baby? What am I going to do? Don't panic. I sent my friend a text, and the sheriff is on his way to get the child. Why would you do that? I could get arrested. Well, that would teach you to respect boundaries, and also that stealing children is not okay. Just you wait and see. I'm disowning you, Anthony. That's fine with us. We don't really find it good for us to be associated with criminals. All right, bye then. I know I sounded calm during that entire conversation, but I was panicking so hard on the inside. The thought that Harriet would resort to kidnapping, a crime, just to give her daughter everything she wanted, made my skin crawl in fear. I informed Anthony about it, and he too was shocked. He called Harriet to give her a piece of his mind, and she started yelling at him for what I did. She tried to run away from home, but the sheriff got there just in time. She was put in handcuffs and led to the police station, where she was questioned for hours about her intentions. Anthony and I were also called to give our statements. I had started recording the conversation about 30 seconds into the call, so I had her entire confession on tape. I showed all the evidence I had against Harriet, not because I hated her in any way, but because I was scared for my kids. I didn't want her to actually steal one of my children. After hours of questioning, she was filed for child kidnapping. She needed to go to court, and after her trial, they would decide what was to be done with her. Of course, Kayla and Rai were swamped with making sure that they had the best lawyer to defend Harriet. The court case was long, and by the end of it, all of us were exhausted. But the verdict was for Harriet to be imprisoned for 5 years, and she had to pay a large fine to the sheriff. I was happy that for the next 5 years, I wouldn't have to deal with Harriet or her putting my kids in danger. I did, however, have to worry about how Kayla and Rai would react to this news, and I didn't have to worry about that for long enough. A few days after Harriet got put in jail, Kayla and Rai showed up at our house and began banging on the door, demanding that we let them in. Of course, I didn't let that happen, but I did open the door to them so they could just talk to me instead of entering the house. As soon as I opened the door, Kayla began yelling at me, "You had my mother arrested. How could you? I didn't do anything to Harry. She's in jail because she did something bad. She was trying to do something good for me. You were not going to allow me to even see the kids. At least she thought about my pain. No matter what the intention was, she committed a crime. Not to mention, I literally had no part in this. You informed the sheriff about where we lived. Of course you had everything to do with this. Look, there was an Amber Alert out for a child. I knew where the child was, so I informed the sheriff. Would you rather I stayed silent and let the parents worry for the safety of their child? No, but you could have just tried to devise a plan with my mother about how to give the child back without her getting in trouble. I don't think there would have been any way for her to not be in trouble. She had the intent to kidnap my child. She just so happened to have kidnapped someone else's. She committed a crime, and she has to pay for it. Is there absolutely nothing you can do? You can talk to your friend and ask her to drop the case. Absolutely not. She has shown me her true colors, and there's no way that I can live in peace knowing that she could use any moment to take one of my children away from me. Mom was right. You really are a selfish jerk who only cares for herself. Hurl every kind of insult you want at me, but that will not change reality. I just want both of you to know that I will be filing restraining orders against you, and I will be asking for Kayla and Harriet's grandparents' rights to be taken away. You can't do that. You can't rob us of our grandchildren. You tried to rob them from me. I don't see why this can't work two ways. Goodbye. I closed the door on their faces and walked in with a smile on my face. Finally, I knew that Harriet, Kayla, and Ree learned their lesson. Of course, it was beyond shocking that none of them understood why what they did was wrong, but that was not my problem to deal with. After that, Anthony and I filed a request to remove Ray and Harriet's grandparents' rights. We did not want them to have any access to our children. We were cutting them out for good and wanted no way for them to contact us. The process was hard for Anthony. He was practically cutting all ties with his family. But the fact that he was willing to do that spoke volumes to me about his dedication to his family. I'm truly lucky to have a man who would sacrifice everything for me. Anthony and I decided to move to a different apartment as well, because we didn't want them to know where we were at all. I know that this all sounds a bit extreme, but the thought of them actively trying to steal my child made me a bit paranoid. We are on the way to living a better life now. We're going to try our best to protect our children from all the harm that we can avoid. Thank you all for listening to me so far. I'll try my best to update you, but you know what they say about kids being really tiring.